preparation to put the wind turbine together, make sure you have all the pieces and parts laid out nice and neatly on a flat surface. So let's look at the parts themselves. This is the base, this is the tower, this is the tower support, and then we have two discs here, two round discs. One disc is called the stator disc. This is the rotor disc. This is some other bits and pieces of plastic. Here we have the blades, the coils, the wind turbine cable connector. We have some hardware here, nuts and bolts and so forth. We have the wind pins, and these are the devices that actually hold the blades to the rotor disc. Then we have the neodymium magnets. There are 4 of them, and they're very powerful. And that brings up the point that when we're using the magnets, whether we're putting the turbine together or just using the turbine, we always want to use our safety glasses. The magnets, again, are very powerful, and if they snap together, they can break and shatter, and pieces can go all over the place. So always make sure to wear your safety glasses when assembling and experimenting with the wind turbine. Then we have a little piece of sandpaper, and that will be used with the wind turbine coils to scrape off the enamel. Then we just have some tools here. We have a Phillips head screwdriver, and that's a screwdriver with a pointy end on it. A pair of pliers. These are long nosed, but any kind of pliers will do. A pair of wire cutters. A felt marking pen for marking the magnets. And some regular old Scotch tape. This will be used to hold the coil wires down. To begin with assembling the turbine, what you first have to do is remove the paper backing off of each piece of plastic, and even including the small little pieces like this. Now, we've already done this to speed things up. Just remember to remove the paper backing off of each piece of the plastic. The next thing you want to do is take the base, flip it over, and put on 4 of the rubber feet. Next, we want to take our tower support and insert the tower support into the 2 slots in the base like so. Okay, that goes first. The next thing we want to do is take the vertical tower itself, and this is the front part of the tower, and this is the rear part of the tower, the part that has a slot in it. So this is the rear part, this is the front part. Let's mount the tower through the slot on the tower support and into the slots of the base. So now we have our tower and tower support attached to the base just loosely without tabs. There are 4 tabs, and the tabs look like this with a little hole in it. And what we want to do is we want to put each one of these tabs on each corner of the tower support and the tower itself. So take a tab and slide it through the slot like so. Take another tab, slide it through the slot here like so. Take the third tab, and this is going to go through the tower, and then the 4th tab goes through the back end of the tower this way. Now we're going to tie them down with screws. Here's a tip to begin with. Take your Phillips head screwdriver and take your neodymium magnets, but magnetizing the screwdriver will help out with putting in the screws. So take one of the 4 self-tapping screws. It's magnetized now, and now just simply bring it down and begin to insert it into one of the tabs. Now that we have our tabs all screwed down, all 4 sides, well, the next thing we want to do is we want to add the rod support to the back of our tower. So all we need to do here is simply insert the rod support, take a tab, another tab like this, slip it through the slot, and then screw the tab into the tower. Locate the angle brackets. There are two of them. There's a through hole here, it's not threaded, and then there's a threaded hole. We want to take a number 6 machine screw, put it through the hole that isn't threaded like this, then put the screw through the hole in the tower, take the other angle bracket, attach it or just hang it onto the side there, then take a number 6 hex nut and tighten up the angle brackets, just finger tight, and then tighten it slightly. Now what we want to do is we want to put the stator disc and mount it to the angle brackets. So just take a number 6 machine screw and finger tighten it into the first angle bracket. Take another screw, finger tighten it into the other angle bracket, and take our Phillips head screwdriver and screw both of them in. The next step is our wind turbine coils. There are 6 of them, so take one of them out of the bag and notice that the wires are kind of long. Kind of straighten them out with your fingers. Get your wire cutters and cut off about 2.5 inches or so. Just make sure they're trimmed like this, and do the same with the other 5. Take our small piece of sandpaper and begin to strip off the enamel coating off of each of the ends of the wires. Now this is going to take a while, just to make sure that all of the enamel coating is removed. Do not skip this step. This is very important. Kind of twist the wire around, make sure you have all of the enamel off of the wire, otherwise the wires will not make contact and the wind turbine won't work. Now once you've completed trimming all of the enamel off of the ends of the coils, if you have access to a multimeter like this, set your multimeter on the ohm setting and measure across each coil. I'm going to do one of them here. Now you'll notice you should get a reading of about 6.7 to about 7 ohms. If you get something very high like this, looks like about, oh, I don't know, 2.6 megohms or something, you know you haven't really stripped enough of the enamel off of the wires. So make sure that at least the ½ inch of the ends of each wire are totally stripped, and again you should get a reading of about 6.7 to 7 ohms. Once we have our coils stripped and so forth, what we want to do is take our tape strip and take our scissors and cut small little sections, about 1/4 inch each, like this. This is double-sided tape, and do that for each one of the coils. We have 2 strips for each one of the coils. Okay, for each one of the coils we want to take one of the tape pieces, take the backing off and apply it to one side of the coil like this. Take the backing off the other end, apply it like this, and do that for the other 5. Okay, now that we're done putting the tape on the back end of the coils, we want to take the other side of the tape off so that we expose that, and then we want to place these very carefully on the stator. Okay, we're going to do that. First one here. Now we have these other 2 wires here, and notice we have 2 little holes on the outer edge of the disc let's take our wires and put those through those holes, like so. And now we have a coil mounted to our stator disc. Do the other 5 just like this. Now when you're done, your stator coils ought to look like this. Turn our stator coil around like this, because what we want to do is we want to begin to connect the wires to each other. Now the first thing we want to notice are the 2 little holes up here at the top. These holes are going to be for the LED leads. So this is going to be our reference point. Now we're going to start with this coil here kind of in the 1 o'clock position. We're going to take the end wire here of this coil and the end wire of the coil in the 3 o'clock position, and what we want to do is we want to twist these together like so. Okay, now we have these 2 coils, this one here and this one here, tied together with these wires. When we're done, you'll notice that we have all of our coils tied together, and we have 2 loose ends here. And if you have access to a multimeter, what you can do is you can take each lead and go across the end leads of the coils, and your reading should be between 38 to 42 ohms. And it just so happens that we have exactly 40 ohms across here. Very important, because if we don't have a connection on each one of the coils, the turbine is not going to work. So if you have access to a multimeter, make sure you perform this test. Next thing we want to do is install our LED into the circuit. What we do here is take the leads, push them through the 2 little holes, kind of bend the LED up like this, and then spread the leads out like this. Take one of the wires and wrap it around the LED. Do this completely, making sure that the bare end of the coil wire actually attaches itself and contacts itself to the LED lead. Do the same with the other lead. Kind of dress things up a little bit and kind of push the leads down against the plastic stator. We want to take our tape, cut a couple of pieces from it, and take our twisted leads and just simply tape them down. That should do it. Now all of our leads are neatly taped down and our end wires are connected to our LED, so I think we're ready to go.